Hey, what happens when you mix stuff from your stash with your brand new kits? Let's check it out. It's your girl Victoria Marie, and I'm back with a kit plus stash video. Now this is something that may or may not become a series. I haven't decided yet. Probably not. I think I'll just do this regularly. But what do you do when you have a whole bunch of stash and a whole bunch of new kits? Well, you put them together to create one awesome kit so you can use up your new stuff and your old stuff. Let's get started. One of the requests that I get often is to demonstrate how to use items from your stash along with new items. And if you're like me, then you have a lot of scrapbooking goodies just hanging around. Maybe you're hoarding something, but you also like to get new stuff as well. And while I don't buy a whole lot of things because I do love using my stash, I do buy new product because one, I love to be inspired, and two, I have a lot of professional projects where I am given product to use or I purchase product to use for classes and things like that. Now, what I don't want to do is have a whole stash full of new stuff and a whole stash full of old stuff. I want to be able to pair it together, and that's what this video is all about. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to make this a series. I think I'm just going to do this regularly on the channel so you guys can be inspired to not only use your stash, but to also use up those new things because, you know, we spend a lot of money on this scrapbooking hobby, so let's get more bang for our buck and use the items. So what I'm going to do in this process video is I'm going to use a kit from Freckled Fawn, and in fact, this was the January kit. And I also have some items from an older Hip Kit Club kit that's just been hanging around in my stash. I also added a few things from my stash that weren't necessarily with this kit. So let me show you what I have. Now, if you're not familiar with Freckled Fawn, they do offer kits that are just embellishment only. They also have some kits where you can get 3x4 pocket cards as well as pattern paper. And I like the embellishment kit mainly because I can pair these items with things that I already have, and it's a very economical way to get new things without committing to a full kit. So in this January kit, I've got some label stickers. I also have some enamel shapes, as well as some really fun washi tape. I think I might even use this in my planner at some point. There are also these really fun acrylic shapes. This one says, whoa, yay, cool, and oops. I have a January wood veneer. I'm keeping it in its package because these thin wood veneers break easily, so I want to make sure I don't break this before getting a chance to use it. Also included in the set is some Freckled Fawn 22 cork arrows, and it has some silver foiling in the middle of it, which is really nice. Also this really adorable camera badge, and that would be fun in a planner, on a scrapbook page. You can even sew it on a little bag or even on a jean jacket. Would be really fun. Throwback to those of us who grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And then also you get these 26 chipboard stickers, and some of them kind of fell out, but they're circles and tags and labels. And one of the things I had included that actually did not come in this kit, but I just noticed that it was in this shot. This actually came from my stash, so I will come back to that here in a second. So these are all really fun elements that I can coordinate things from my stash. So speaking of that, how do you even begin the process of pairing your new items with your old items? Well, I have some really quick tips that you can follow so you can start the process of pairing your kits plus your stash, or any new item that you purchase. It doesn't just have to be a scrapbooking kit per se. Now, the first thing you want to do is have a starting point, and for me, it's going to be the new items. And I want to look at the color, I want to look at the design. If this was a very themey kit, then I want to start thinking about the things that I have in my stash that would go along with that theme, whether it's birthday, holiday, maybe it's a girl theme, a boy theme, maybe it's an outdoor theme. And so maybe along those lines, so you want to pull things from your stash that fit with the theme of your new product or your new kit. The next thing I'm looking for is what elements out of this can inspire me in terms of texture and dimension, in terms of style. I noticed that this particular kit is very colorful. I have some cork elements. I've got this great badge. I've got some chipboard pieces. So when I go to my stash, those are the things that I'm going to be looking for to pull. And lastly, I'm going to look at what I'm missing. So for this particular set, of course, I need papers, right? I need font stickers. There are a few things from my stash that I want to be able to add in with these new products to make it a full kit. Now, you can make a page kit, you can make a full scrapbooking kit that you can make multiple layouts from. That's completely up to you. For me, I like to make full kits so I can get a lot of mileage out of the one kit. So I have my new items here, and what I want to do is I want to look at some of my stash items to see what works well. Now, one of my biggest tips for you is do not worry about completely matching color and style and all that. It's all about coordinating what looks good to you and what really speaks to your design aesthetic. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to pull some things out that I think will work well with these Freckle Fawn products. Now, one thing to keep in mind before I go on, you might be asking, well, Victoria, do you pair similar manufacturers or do you mix and match manufacturers and companies? And the latter would be true, and I'll tell you why. The main reason why I like to mix manufacturers and different companies and different designers is because each one has something unique about it, and so therefore it would create a very unique kit. I'm able to maximize and use all the wonderful elements that I like from each designer and each manufacturer. Now, of course, you can pull the same manufacturer, the same designer to create your kit. That's perfectly fine, but I like to mix things up and be a little bit versatile. So the first thing I want to do as I am working on creating my kit plus stash kit, so to speak, is I want to look at papers. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at color and I'm looking at overall design. Now, this is a pretty, what I like to call a neutral design. It's not super themey. You can use it for any type of scrapbook layout. But I want to make sure that the colors go well together. I'm looking to coordinate, not match. So as you can see, all of these papers that I pulled have similar colors to the Freckle Fawn kit. So I've got navy blues and yellows and pinks, and it all just works well together. Now, one of the things I do want to make sure of is that I have a fair amount of not only pattern paper, but I also pull in some solid cardstock as well that I feel will coordinate with these newer items. Now, once I have my papers established, I'm going to be looking for font stickers. Now, the way that I like to pull my kits together is I like to have a variety of font stickers because I never know what mood I will be in whenever I'm creating a scrapbooking kit. Now, the number of items that you pull together to match with your new stuff is totally up to you and how you scrapbook. These are just some examples of some of the things that I pulled and some of the techniques that I like to use when I'm doing this. So the first thing I pull are some little alphas, and so I found some jelly bean soup alphas in my stash, and these go well in terms of color and overall style with the Freckle Fawn kit. I also pulled some Embellishments puffy gold mini dots alphas, and these are from 2015, so again, a little bit older, not that much older, but just a little bit. I haven't used these at all, so this provides me an opportunity to actually use up this product, and that's the whole point of this process. I also have some Hip Kit fonts, I have some Thickers fonts, I also have some mini market fonts as well, so different sizes, different styles, so that I can have a little bit of versatility and have some choices when I am putting a scrapbook page together. I also like to pull out some nice chipboard die cuts, and I love these Thickers chipboard die cuts. They're absolutely beautiful. Again, working off the colors, they don't have to exactly match, they just have to coordinate. Some of these elements have a little bit of a cream background, some of them have white. There is no cream in this kit, but you know what? I'm one of those rebels that mixes cream with white, so I'm okay with that. So I love the overall design and the style of this. I think this works well more color-wise than design. This design here is a little bit more feminine, lots of flowers, little teacups, and the butterflies, but I can definitely use this along with the Freckle Fawn in some way. So I want to pull this out because I think it would be a great addition. Now I'm going to jump back to papers for just a second because I want to make sure that I'm pulling from my 6x6 paper pad stash. I have a very tiny stash, but I know a lot of you have tons of 6x6 paper pads and you're struggling to use them. So when you're building this kit, also remember to pull from the items that you have hoarded a lot and you don't use very often, and 6x6 paper pads tends to be at the top of that list. So I grabbed this Kelly Perky paper pad that I purchased at, I think, Tuesday morning, and this is by Basic Gray. Now, a lot of the Basic Gray products have a cream background, but again, I'm okay with mixing my cream and my white. Some of the papers that I've pulled, the 12x12 papers, have a cream background, and that's fine. Even though these elements don't, the color story works well together as well as the overall style. So all I did was I flipped through here to decide, are there papers that I can use with this Freckle Fawn kit? There absolutely is. So I want to definitely get some mileage from that to create some beautiful layouts using this 6x6 paper pad. And then lastly, of course, you don't want to forget other embellishments. Now, even though this is an embellishment kit, there's not a whole lot of embellishments here for me to make a ton of layouts. And I usually like to get at least 10 or 12 layouts out of a kit like this when I'm pulling in my new stuff with my old stuff. This is another element that came with that Freckle Fawn kit. I totally forgot it was hanging out on the side, but these are little metal hearts. I also grabbed these Amy Tangerine glossy puffy stickers. Again, the colors work well as the style. Want to bring in a little bit more texture to this, so I have some wood buttons. Now these have some violet colors in it, but that's okay. There's other buttons in here that also speak to the color story of the items that I'm pulling, so I went ahead and pulled that mainly for the texture, not so much for the color. Again, going along with texture, I grabbed these faux suede bows from Amy Tangerine. These are so adorable, and as you can see, I've only used one so far, so I have plenty more that I can use on a project. I pulled out some more die cuts. This one has the chipboard die cuts. I also have the chipboard die cuts in this little thicker set, but I wanted some regular cardstock die cuts, and this is from the Pink Paisley the Paige Evans through Pink Paisley Turn the Page collection, and there's lots of beautiful, colorful die cuts in there that work very well with the Freckle Fawn kit that I have, so I definitely want to use these. I have some washi tape, some more washi tape that goes along with both color stories from my stash as well as the new. And then of course I have some doilies, again bringing in a lot of texture and interest to this kit. So that is pretty much the kit plus stash process in a nutshell. The main things to remember: it's okay to mix your manufacturers and your designers. It's okay to coordinate. You do not have to match exactly from your old materials to your new materials. It's okay to coordinate similar colors, textures, and style. Also, speaking of texture, you want to bring in a variety of different elements, from cork to wood veneer to chipboard to vellum to acrylic pieces, to really give your kit some versatility. And make sure that you pull enough items from your stash that you have some variety and you have some choices, so you don't feel that you're limited when you're working on a project. So I hope that you have been inspired to coordinate your new materials with the things that you have in your stash. Now, of course, this video won't be complete without me actually making a layout using some of these elements. So I'm going to clear all this away and get started. So first off, I'm going to start with a piece of textured white cardstock from American Crafts. I also pulled two pattern papers from that Kelly Perky 6x6 paper pad. I've got some old items there, the die cuts and those chipboard stickers, as well as those thicker stickers. And then I'm going to use some elements from that Freckle Fawn kit. So the cork pieces, some of the chipboard pieces, and then I'm also going to use those little metal hearts. And I'm going to use these phrase stickers to create some journaling on my layout. So I'm going to trim up my photo just a little bit. I think I'm trimming it down to roughly maybe a little bit under 4x4, something like that. I'm going to add some Tombow mono adhesive to the back of that and mount it on some white cardstock so it can have a white border around it. Now, I printed this photo in black and white mainly because it allows me to use any type of colors on this layout without having to worry about coordinating colors from my photo with the products that I'm using, and I do that quite often. So this is a photo of my little one and my spouse. So we were at a place called Minchie's, which is a frozen yogurt place, and we absolutely love it. It was Friday, getting ready to start a family night, which we do every Friday, and decided to have a treat for the week. It's been really hectic. It's just been really busy in our lives lately. So I took this picture of them, and they look absolutely beautiful. So I decided this is going to be a great scrapbook page. They are the best of buds, and we're just a really close little family of three. So anytime I have an opportunity to snap a picture of them, I do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center the photo in the middle of the page. I usually don't do a lot of centering of my photos. I'm going to use those thicker font guides there. And that's new. I found that at Tuesday morning. That was sort of an impulse buy. And I don't have an eye for straight, so these type of tools help me out a lot. But I wanted to use this curved guide to create the title that says My Loves. I'm going to pull up, yes, the blue S and move that over a little bit. I am not entirely certain if this is centered correctly because I just don't have an eye for that type of thing. But I don't care because the people who are going to be looking at this won't care either. I'm just a lazy type of scrapper that way. So I'm going to go ahead and position the photo right underneath the title, My Loves, my two favorite people in the whole wide world. And now what I want to do is create some clusters, one to the right side of the layout and one to the bottom left. And I've got these die cuts from the Paige Evans, oh goodness, what is the name of that collection she had? Now I'm trying to remember what it was. So while I'm trying to remember that, oh, it's called Turn the Page. Whew, whew, goodness, Turn the Page. So while I'm trying to figure that out, I want to ultimately create sort of a layered dimensional cluster with those die cuts. So I cut one of them down, cut it in half. So don't be afraid to manipulate your elements to make it work. And so I'm going to stick that underneath that little gold yellow flower. Then I positioned the colorful flower cluster there with the pink and the blue on top of that using some dimensionals. I am going to add that little floral piece there to the top using, again, some dimensionals from Stampin' Up! And get that into place. And admittedly, I'm kind of thinking, you know, I'm not sure if I like this or not. This was my first layout of the day, and I just kind of have this motto that the first layout is not always the best layout. So we'll see how this turns out. So I have this circle die cut embellishment, and I also have this little chipboard embellishment, one from my stash, one from the Freckled Fawn kit. And I'm going to go ahead and put the one from the Freckled Fawn kit, that's the new stuff, right there at the top. Then I'm going to add this Amy Tangerine bow, which I'm ultimately going to replace with something else here in just a little bit. So now that I have that circle element there, which I think is great and brings some yellow there to that side of the page, now I really want to use this ampersand because, of course, there's the two of them on it, on the picture rather. So I decided to, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and lay it down. If I don't like it, I'll pull it up later. That's just kind of scrapper I am. I just put it down and I'll just make the decision later instead of, you know, auditioning it around the page. So now I'm going to grab some of these chipboard pieces, and these already have adhesive on them, which is great. And I find this little camera, this yellow camera, and it's really adorable. And it says, "We click," because they are the best of friends. Of course, that adds a little bit more of the repetitive color on the page going from the right to the left side of the photo. And then I'm trying out some other little elements too. So now that I'm pretty confident that this is where I want to go, I'm going to add some of these label stickers from Freckled Fawn. Of course, this is the new stuff. And the label stickers say, "Nothing more important. You are always there for me. What friendship is all about," because they are the best of buds. "Enjoy the little things and here in my heart." And I try to pick sentiments that sort of played with the story of that particular layout. Now I'm going to pull some of these cork pieces that came with the Freckled Fawn kit. Again, all new material, mixing that with my stash. Having some problems trying to decide where I want to put these arrows. Of course, I want them all pointing to my loves there in the photo. Then I'm going to grab these little metal hearts that came with the Freckled Fawn kit, and I think that would look really adorable up there with that thickers font that's from my stash. And I'm going to get those all glued up with some glue dots to hold them in place. I really hope they stay in place. I live in Texas and the weather is crazy here, so sometimes when I go back through my scrapbooks, stuff falls off. I'm pretty sure those stickers will probably fall off, but I was too lazy to add extra adhesives because, you know, that's just how I roll. I'll regret it later. All right, so now I'm looking at some more chipboard pieces again from that chipboard die cut set. And I want to position that gold heart there. Then I have another one that I'm going to put in the other cluster. And it's about this time that I realized I don't have another gold star, but that's okay. I'm just going to improvise with what I do have remaining, which is that navy blue star. And although I would have preferred a gold, the navy blue is fine. I'm not going to fuss about it. Now I feel that my layout needs a little something more. So I grab a piece of pattern paper. Again, that's from my stash. I'm going to trim down my layout so that I can have a border of that pattern paper all the way around. Now, I could have hollowed out that pattern paper, but again, I'm all about using things up. Plus, I think it gives the layout a little bit more foundation because I have some elements on here that are a little bit weighted with the chipboard pieces and stuff. So I'm cool with that. So I'm going to adhere all of that down, and I'm thinking I need something else. So I'm going to grab some Heidi Shine, and this is called Mint, I believe. And so I'm going to sprinkle that around the page, and I'm always sort of hesitant to do this because I don't know how it's going to look, and you can't necessarily wipe it up once you put it down, but I think overall it turned out okay. It's been a while since I sprinkled on my layouts. Now to add the date using my trusty Heidi Swap roller date stamp, and I'm using some VersaFine black ink. I'm going to stamp that right to the side, and when I did it, I decided I didn't like it, but it's there, and this layout is done. Using items from my new Freckled Fawn kit, or at least my kit that was from January, and then items from my stash to create a cohesive layout. To see stills of this layout, make sure you head over to the Victoria Marie blog. Hey, if you liked that layout and want to see more of me pairing my kit plus stash, make sure you comment down below, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. And when you do, hit that bell indicator so you will know every time I upload a video to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. If you want to see some more Victoria Marie greatness, click on the videos here on this side. And as always, thank you for joining me. Now you go and be creative.